ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಒಂದು ಬಾಂಧವ್ಯ ಸುಮಧುರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೀತಿಯ ವಾತಾವರಣ ತರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಜನಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ. ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಅಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳು ಏನು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾವೆ, ಯಾರು ಅದನ್ನು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಚಿತಾವಣೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆ ಮೂಲ ಹಿಡಿಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಬಜರಂಗ ದಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂಘಟನೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂದುಳಿದ ವರ್ಗದ ಅಮಾಯಕ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಬಜರಂಗ ದಳದಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾಹಿತಿ, ಆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅಮಾಯಕತೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಏನು ನಡೀತಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಭಾವನಾತ್ಮಕವಾದಂಥ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರ ಮೆದುಳಿಗೆ ತುರುಕಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಅವರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಕೆಲವು ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದೇನಿದೆ, ಆ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ನೀವು ಸದೆಬಡಿದೆ ನೀವು ಆ ಸಂಘ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನು ಉಪಯೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಇಳಿಬಾರ್ದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಬಂದಾಗ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ 5 ವರ್ಷ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ದು, ಆಗಲೇ ಯಾಕೆ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ? ಈಗ ಮುಂದೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ? ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅದು.
It's a big political war of words that has now erupted after that announcement that came as part of the Congress manifesto, where they said if they are voted to power, they would want to ban outfits like the Bajrang Dal, and they compared it to the Popular Front of India or the PFI as well. Now, the BJP is questioning, one, where did this ban on the Bajrang Dal actually come from? And the BJP is also hitting out at the Congress, saying this is appeasement and nothing else. But the rationale that has been given by the Congress is that this is not just against one organization, they're against any organization that becomes a threat as far as law and order situation is concerned. Will this be a turning point as far as the battle for Karnataka is concerned? Let's also now bring in our guests who in fact are joining us this evening. The BJP spokesperson Neeti Jain is joining us on the broadcast. We also have Bhavya Narasimhamurthy, Karnataka Congress spokesperson, also joining us on the broadcast. Good to have both of you on the broadcast with us. Bhavya, I'd like to begin the conversation with you first. Before I get into the attack that's coming in from the BJP, I just want to understand what is the kind of rationale that the Congress is working with. Where did this idea or this thought of wanting to ban outfits like the Bajrang Dal actually come from? Because till the manifesto was announced, we actually hadn't heard the Congress talking about this. So why did the Congress feel the need to come forward and ask for a ban as far as outfits like the Bajrang Dal are concerned?
So when we made this manifesto, we kept every aspect of life of Karnataka people into consideration. It was very important for us to make sure that they feel safe under Congress government, which was the case till now. Until recently, Mr. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, came here and said, if Congress comes to power, there will be riots. He made a provocative statement, and we even registered a complaint against it. And it is our responsibility. Every time there were attacks from Bajrang Dal on pubs, assaulting women, all of this happened. And police people have taken action against them. And there are, there are a lot of mob lynchings and this kind of, a lot of incidences this Bajrang Dal has been involved in. My question is, why, when they do such incidences and such assaults on women, BJP tries to distance themselves from Bajrang Dal, saying they're fringe elements.
Yeah.
And now they want to come on TV, and even our Prime Minister want to, defend this organization.
No, so Bhavya, there are actually
violating
multiple
laws
issues
and every
here.
woman in
I
Karnataka.
will bring in the BJP spokesperson to try and understand why do they have an issue if a call for ban has been called. But I just want to understand from the Congress's perspective, what is the specific threat that an outfit like the Bajrang Dal, according to you, still has?
Recently there have been many instances of, murder and beating up people in the name of religion, in which Bajrang Dal has been involved. And this is not the first time. Bajrang Dal has been involved in attack on a church. And then before that, there was this attack on pubs where they literally assaulted women. It was a global issue that day. And that day when BJP wanted to distance. So in future, and we are very clear in our manifesto, we are not saying we'll just come to power and ban them all. We are saying whether it is PFI or Bajrang Dal, if you go against the Constitution of India, or if you create anything like, to the safety and security of
No,
Karnataka people.
while I
For the
understand your
ban-
argument as far as that any organization that becomes a threat to law and order situation, we want to ban that. I want to agree to that. But I'm not sure if I understand the comparison that is being drawn of the Bajrang Dal to the PFI. But I'll just come back to you in just a bit. I want to bring Neeti Jain also, the BJP spokesperson also, in the conversation. The Congress is asking that why is the BJP even making this a poll issue? There are various announcements that we've made in the manifesto, and we're actually not just singling out the Bajrang Dal. We're saying any outfit or organization that becomes a threat as far as law and order situation is concerned needs to be checked, and if needed, it needs to be banned as well. According to them, it is an extremist organization. Why should it not be banned?
All right, too many points I need to make. So first of all, I think it is pretty hilarious that the Congress first raises an issue. So for example, they will abuse the Prime Minister and then they will ask us, why are you making this a point? Then they will come up with something like this in their manifesto and then they will ask us, why are you making this a point? If you don't want us to make this a point, don't give us those pointers to make these things a point. If you are going to equate PFI and a Bajrang Dal, ma'am, I really think you need to understand, if you are worried about the safety of these people, it was your chief minister who actually released 1,700 plus PFI activists that were arrested in the previous regime by Yediyurappa ji.
Okay.
And that was not when the safety was concerned. And today you are writing in your manifesto you will ban PFI, but in Rajasthan you are giving all kinds of the rallies and the marches that are happening in Rajasthan. That is not a problem for you there. So is the safety of people in Rajasthan not a concern for you? The third point being, there is a difference between a PFI, SDPI kind of organizations. They are banned by the central government. There were NIA raids happening there where they found documents that said Mission 47, they wanted to convert India into an Islamic state by 47. And this is what you are comparing with a Bajrang Dal. So if Bajrang Dal says we are pro-Hindu, that does not necessarily mean they are against any other religion. They are just a Hindu organization.
Okay.
And if that is what scares you and that is what you come from, the Hindu terrorists and Rahul Gandhi making all of those statements, if that is your fear, then all we are saying is that this is about appeasement. Why else would you raise an issue like this when it has nothing to do with the elections?
So, Bhavya, now help us understand. This is the point that is being made by the BJP, that isn't comparing the Bajrang Dal to the PFI going a bit too far. Because the question that is being raised by the BJP is that this actually exposes the mindset of the Congress party. It is an anti-Hindu party and nothing else.
First of all, our problem with BJP is they're self-declared saviors of Hindus. Sorry to say this. Bajrang Dal does not represent Hindus. Me, I'm a Hindu woman and they don't represent me. In fact, they scare me. We don't feel safe around Bajrang Dal people because we know the history of Bajrang Dal. There is no way, you can call us anti-Hindu because we are banning Bajrang Dal. That is not a Hindu organization just because they call themselves. They can't just come up with, they have taken our deity's name. In fact, they are an embarrassment to us. Comparing Bajrang Dal with Bajrang Bali, that's atrocious. That's not something we are going to accept, because those people in Bajrang Dal, what they're doing, it's totally against Hindu culture.
So, Bhavya, I just want to understand. I just want to understand this. Do you think you've just given enough fodder as far as the BJP is concerned? Because look at the kind of reactions that are coming in. Yesterday, we spoke to the Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma. He minced no words. He said that the manifesto of the Congress party just shows that they've become a voice of the Muslim fundamentalists. He's also gone on to say that this is as good as raging a war against the country. Today, Tejasvi Surya has also spoken to us here at CNN News 18. He's saying that the Bajrang Dal becomes the first line of defense as far as Hindus are concerned. So this entire narrative of the Congress now being anti-Hindu, the BJP is saying stands exposed.
So, Mr. Tejasvi Surya, we all know he is a Me Too accused. He is one of the accused in Me Too. And then he went to court and brought some...
Ma'am, I don't know what...
media. So,
how is that even relevant?
One second, Neeti, I'll just come back to you. One sec. Bhavya, go ahead.
Him supporting Bajrang Dal is not even a surprise to us. So, we are fine with it. That doesn't mean Karnataka people are going to vote on this basis. You know, BJP has been a very corrupt government, has done very corrupt
Why do
administration
you
for the
even
past
put
4
it in
years.
your manifesto if you think people are not going to vote?
Bhavya, and this is,
Yes.
one second, Bhavya, then the question actually comes, Bhavya, one second, Bhavya,
I want them to know
and that is
they
why
stand
the
for
larger
that
question
unless the current
is,
BJP government,
one sec, Bhavya,
where
that's
our
why the
youth,
larger question
including
is
Muslims
not
and
just to
Hindus,
you,
they lost their
but to the
lives in this
spokesperson of the
government.
BJP as well. If each political party is actually coming out and saying that none of this will have an impact as far as the voter is concerned, why are we seeing the entire narrative then get reduced to as far as quota is concerned, as far as banning of outfits is concerned? But Neeti, just going back to the announcement that is coming from the Congress Party. One second.
Points in manifesto.
Yeah. Okay. Bhavya, I'll just come back to you. 1 second. Neeti, I just want to go back to the point as to why is the BJP finding it so difficult when the Congress says that they want to ban outfits like the Bajrang Dal. Are they completely far away from reality? Many would say that's not actually true. Just look at some of the events that have happened in Karnataka. For example, go back to some events that happened in Shivamoga. You did have certain Bajrang Dal activists who were arrested for attacking a Muslim youth. In one case, they attacked a meat seller as well. So the Congress is saying that we're not very far from reality. There have been many instances. Why should action not be taken?
Again, the point being, PFI is an anti-national organization. Bajrang Dal is not in the same league. If somebody does something wrong against the law, let the law punish them. But to come out and equate PFI and Bajrang Dal, that is the problem. And that is the mindset of Congress that comes out. They are anti-Hindu. When Rahul Gandhi comes out after 2008 Bombay attacks, and says that the Hindu groups are more dangerous to this country than the terrorist outfits, or when Digvijay Singh ji comes out and says that Hindu terrorism is a bigger threat to this country, I think that is where this entire mindset is coming from. And if Madam says that this is not going to be an issue, why put this in your manifesto at all? If you listen to Modi ji, if you listen to Nadda ji, if you listen to Amit Shah ji, everybody who's talking there is talking about the work that we have done and the work that we intend to do in the next 5 years. If these
Okay.
going to come back and respond to those matters. You cannot put Bajrang Dal and PFI on the same scale and say कि आपने PFI ban किया है, हम Bajrang Dal ban करेंगे. भैया देख तो लो what the PFI has done and what their history is. And today I think there has been news that SDPI is supporting them. They have said 2018 SDPI had an alliance with Congress. So let them explain that. In their manifesto, they will say we will ban them. In Rajasthan, you don't have a problem with PFI. In Karnataka, just because there's elections, you're going to say we will ban PFI. So all of this is just the hypocrisy from the Congress party, and that is what they need to explain. We are not supporting anything that is against the law. If it's against the law,
But
let
there
the
are
law take its course.
two things that I want to understand. One, of course, is the larger issue that I asked Neeti as well. Does any of this actually have an impact as far as the voters are concerned? I'm not sure. But specifically asking you as the Congress spokesperson, one, the BJP is saying because the Congress has realized that they won't actually be able to get enough numbers in their favor, thus announcements like these are coming to try and polarize the entire narrative. Also, is the entire Congress cadre today in sync as far as this announcement is concerned? Because many are suggesting that possibly not many within the Congress are also not sure as far as this announcement of the manifesto is concerned.
So first of all, I would like to clarify something that Neeti said. She mentioned, quote unquote, Mr. Rahul Gandhi spoke against Hindu terrorists. Yes, any form of terrorism should be condemned.
Ma'am, he said Hindu groups are more dangerous than the terrorists. Hindu groups are more dangerous than the terrorists.
You said
Digvijay Singh,
any form of terrorism should be condemned.
Neeti, let Bhavya make a point.
My second point, we stand with Hindus,
that is not my problem.
Hindu terrorists.
I don't have to educate you about your own history.
Not Bajrang Dal, which is anti-Hindu. They assault women. They are anti-Hindu.
What are you?
We do not stand with Bajrang Dal. We stand with real Hindus, and I am a Hindu woman. I totally agree that Bajrang Dal should be banned.
Ma'am, you basically stand with nobody. You use them when you need to use them. You have benefited neither Muslims nor Hindus in the country because you use them when you need to abuse them. And that is that.
In fact,
when we work, our development agenda has helped every religion.
Bhavya, I'm still trying to get an answer to try and understand. One, does everybody have a consensus as far as the clarity that the Congress has that a ban like this is needed? And secondly, is this an afterthought as far as the Congress is concerned? Bhavya, help me understand this. This entire announcement as far as the ban on the Bajrang Dal is concerned, is this an afterthought as far as the Congress is concerned?
So we have set a committee. They have thought, they have went through a lot of consultations with the people of Karnataka across the state, across sectors, across state. They have come up with a manifesto which people have agreed. People are fed up with all these riots that are happening, all the hate and the divisive politics BJP is coming up with. And we had to do something about it. We had to take a call. We made a tough decision, yes. And people of Karnataka know the truth. They know that BJP is using Bajrang
Nidhi,
Dal.
this is something that the Congress has been saying for a while, that all that the BJP has done over the last few years has just to polarize the entire narrative as far as Karnataka is concerned, whether it was hijab, whether it was halal. All that the BJP wants to play is a narrative of polarization, and that is something that the Congress wants to correct. So what is wrong in that?
But it is the Congress that is raising those issues today. Has any of our leaders spoken about any of the matters that you're talking about? If you listen to Modi ji just today, ma'am, let me finish. Stop shouting, please. Let me finish.
Okay, Bhavya, let her make a point.
Sorry, you also interrupted when I was talking. Yeah, please go ahead.
So if you just listen to Modi ji today, he has spoken about how women have benefited, how fishermen have benefited, how everything that is sent from the center goes to the last man standing, and it is not the 85% commission that is being taken by the middlemen now, and that is what he's been talking about. Nowhere are we talking about any other issues. And it is rather hilarious that these people, just now she said that this is not a matter that is going to affect the voters in Karnataka. Now they're saying we discussed everything with the voters of Karnataka, and that is why we put it in. So I think the Congress needs to find a ground where they can stand. And Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi
no, but Nidhi, to be fair,
talk
and I'm
about
just
the
making a
issues of
slight,
development.
I'm just making a slight diversion. To be fair, even the BJP has had an entire narrative of a quota over the last couple of weeks. The counter to the BJP can also be that does this actually have an impact as far as the voters are concerned? When the BJP went down saying that we'll reduce the Muslim reservation, split it between the Lingayats and the Vokaligas, it actually got a status quo only from the court. Even despite that, you had one sec, Nidhi. Despite that, also you had a lot of BJP leaders, using that as far as their poll pitch was concerned. So that's why the larger question is that why are political parties only using narratives like quota, like appeasement, reservation? Does all of this actually have an impact as far as the voter is concerned? Or today, is the voter of Karnataka more concerned about infrastructure, development, jobs, and the opportunities available? Unfortunately, I don't hear any political party speaking about those.
No, I really think you need to listen to Modi ji's speeches if you think nobody is talking about those matters. I have heard all 3 speeches by Modi ji today. When the manifesto was being released, Nadda ji was talking about in detail about everything that has been done in Karnataka and what we intend to do. All that has been mentioned in the manifesto. So if you think that no party is talking about those matters, I think you really need to listen to what our leaders have been talking about. The other point being that if the Congress party is going to raise matters, if they're going to abuse Modi ji, he is going to respond about that. Now you can't say कि कोई बात नहीं बोल दिया है तो सुनकर बैठ जाइए. That is not something that the opposition can decide. If you call him a poisonous snake, he is going to come back and say something. If you're
we were not talking about the name calling. The name calling that it was taken up with the Congress party. It was asked by the Congress party why they wanted to indulge in name calling, but this was a separate discussion.
No,
unfortunately,
I agree, but the point is, this is what the Congress party has stooped down to. They are either indulging in name calling or they are bringing in the religious matters. They're
unfortunately, Neeti, you have many within the BJP also indulging in name calling, like you had B. Yatnal last week indulging in name calling. But I just don't want to get into that discussion because that's a completely separate topic. Just as far as the announcement in the manifesto is concerned, we'll really have to see how any of this has an impact as far as the result is concerned. Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. I'd like to thank both the political spokespersons. Let's also now bring in our colleague Ritu, who in fact has been patiently waiting. Ritu, even as temperatures are rising, political war of words is also escalating between both the political parties. You've been on the ground. What is the kind of reactions that you're getting in?
Well, you see the kind of narratives that are actually being played out by both BJP as well as the Congress. Now, what really is the matter of concern for the voters is that they are looking forward to a kind of issues that they are actually battling with. They need some party who can really resolve their issues, and also public representative who is very easily accessible to them at this point in time, that all the candidates are reaching out to them. The only concern for them has been that every time you come down to our doorsteps, we have always agreed and listened to you patiently there again. But right after the elections, that we really do not find any of this public representative coming and speaking to us or addressing our issues rather. But this political ideologies that both the parties are right now playing out with, you see, now what voters say is that all this while, of course, both the parties, it's very clearly now been seen that the parties are trying to get benefited by playing this political, ideological that card that they are trying to play. But this time, of course, what they are looking forward to is a change in the government for that matter, or also a change in the leaders face as well. But yes, it will be interesting to see that at all this while that the state Congress leaders happen to be quiet with most of the matter that the BJP was actually racking up. Now you see there is that the Congress itself is in a fix because of the kind of manifesto that they have put out. Now what the Congress is saying is that this is the moral policing and the other issues are also part of the society now where the people are actually battling with, and that needs a solution there again. And of course that's the reason that the Congress party is giving importance and ensuring that once they come back to the power, they will be banning Bajrang Dal. But on the other hand, you see Bajrang Dal workers, or for that matter the BJP leaders, are also saying that the kind of incidents that are actually taken place, especially in the coastal belt of the Karnataka, most of them, the cases that were being registered, there was a clear evidence that the PFI or the SDPI member was linked to such incident. And what more kind of proof that do you really need?
Okay, Ritu, we leave the conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We're quickly shifting our focus to some other breaking developments now coming in. Some international news coming in, and this is what the Kremlin is alleging as of now. They're saying that Ukraine, in fact, attempted an assassination of Putin. We'll have to get more details of what really has happened. Abhishek Jha joining us. Abhishek, what are the kind of details that you're picking up, and what is the claim that is coming in?
So currently, the information that we have that Russia has said that Ukraine has tried to assassinate Russian President Vladimir Putin in a drone attack overnight on the Kremlin. There has not been much of confirmation from the other side except from the Russian side, and there are a lot of videos on social media sites which are saying smoke billowing out from the Kremlin. It is not clear when or whether this happened, but the reports of such nature has come, and also it has been reported that President Putin is unharmed and he is working normally. But this will certainly go as an escalation between the two sides, because in the last weekend we have seen a barrage of missiles and rockets being fired from the Russian side, a lot of which were spotted in the air only by the Ukrainian defense system. And since then it was being assumed that the Ukrainian side will also launch a massive attack on the Russian side. And this is happening at a time when the offense, during the May time when both sides are preparing for a massive offense. And will this attack on the Kremlin going to only further escalate and deepen the tension between the two sides?
Abhishek, I just want to talk to you about the timing of when these allegations are coming in. While we'll still wait for official reactions to come in, for days now we've been speaking as far as a counter-offensive by Ukraine is concerned, and most experts have been saying that it could begin as far as the southern part is concerned. Could this be as part of a counter-offensive is concerned?
See, as far as the timing of the attempt is concerned, the video footage that we are currently seeing has been of night. So it could be easily at least 8 to 10 hours before the time that currently we are talking. What kind of drone it was, how much of ammunition it was carrying, what was the target, whether it was just a loitering, aviation craft which fell on Kremlin, or it was designed to attempt an assassination on the Russian president is still not clear. But we know that Russian president is unharmed. He has resumed his operation, his working profile normally. But this attack directly in the center of Moscow on Kremlin and on Russian president is not going to go unpunished from the Russian side, if we say. And Russians are going to retaliate, obviously, on this issue if it is going to be an escalation of the war scenario between the two
Oh,
sides.
absolutely. And that's exactly what I wanted to understand. Two things. You know, over the last few weeks, we've also seen a slight change as far as Moscow's strategy is concerned, specifically as far as leaving areas of Crimea, trying to redeploy their forces towards areas like Mariupol and others. With this allegation and this development coming in of possibly 2 drones being used, how do you see the offensive by Russia only heating up?
See, I mean, we have to see from if it was a drone coming from the Ukrainian side, then it must be a very advanced drone that had a lot of ammunition and a fuel for hundreds of kilometers of surviving in the air. At the same time, it is also a question mark on the overall air defense system around Kremlin, whether it was working or it was just not working deliberately, and it was just a propaganda tool that Russian side would use to escalate further its war machinery against Ukraine. So this war that is happening between Russia and Ukraine is not only being fought on the ground, but there are other areas also, and that is and the one area is the information war that both the sides are playing just to create an alibi to further escalate the war that they are doing on each other. But we know that currently the kind of situation where the effort of mediation were going on between the two sides from the Chinese side also. We just heard that Chinese President Xi Jinping had a conversation with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky just a few days ago. Amid this mediation talk, such escalation of war is not going to go down well. Here, Russia again gets a reason that it should escalate its war machine and the attack against Ukraine, because now Ukraine has apparently hit directly to the Russian president, and there was this apparent attempt on his life.
Abhishek, we're also getting some videos also now coming in as we still await an official confirmation that is now coming in. Just help us understand any other details that we are picking up of what possibly could have happened. What is the kind of allegation that is being made in the terms of the number of drones that have possibly could have been used? Do we have any understanding of what the original target was? Any other detail that is still becoming more clear now?
So we know that currently it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and 2 drones were reportedly aimed at the residence of Vladimir Putin, and the Russian president was not injured. So this is what broadly the Russian media is reporting. Not an official spokesperson of the Russian side has not said anything like that. But so far, the social media or the Russian media has been saying that 2 drones were seen before there was this attempt on the Kremlin building and on the life of Russian President Vladimir Putin. How Russia is going to react to this, we will have to see, because just the daytime, and apparently Russian president is working and he has assumed his office normally. So what kind of a strategy or the rebuttal Russian side are planning, we'll have to wait for a few more hours on that.
You know, Abhishek, it's already crossed the 1-year mark in the month of February, and many were asking where is the war now headed. The war also is not just what's happening on the ground, but a war of narrative as well. How does this then turn the narrative that is being pushed out by both sides?
So far, the narrative has been that the Russian side is creating atrocities on the Ukrainian side. There have been targets of civilian infrastructure also, and the civilian casualties has happened. So the war and the propaganda was really against Russia. But in the recent weeks, we are seeing there are certain elements of a similar nature that the Ukrainian side has also perpetrated. That is, that was this terrorist attack on the bridge between the bridge that has happened, which Russia has turned as a terrorist attack to the Ukraine side. And there we saw that they're having a couple of attempts on the life of pro-Russian media personalities. Now we are witnessing this direct assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin, the Russian president himself. So, I mean, this whole information war that is being spin around that Russian side are being barbaric and terrorizing will not be as strong from the Western point of view, if we say, because now Ukraine is clearly taking a hit at Russian President Vladimir Putin's life if this whole attempt of assassination by the drones is proven true. We are still waiting for the Russian side's clarification on the whole situation that has evolved. It has been almost about 10 hours since this incident has happened, but so far there has not been an official communication that we can say that Russian press or the Kremlin has released so far. There are social media footage that makes it clear that there was this smoke billowing out from the building. But the assassination attempt, how close Vladimir Putin was, and whether he was there in that time when the attack has happened, what sort of damage it created, and why could not Moscow government identify those drones and damage them or destroy them before the attack could happen? That also remains a question that we have the Russian side will have to answer.
You know, Abhishek, even as we wait an official confirmation or reaction to come in, just help our viewers understand what is the ground situation even as the war has crossed the 1-year mark.
We know that so far Ukraine has been able to fight with the Russian side and hold the ground because of the Western support and the US support, the NATO military support in terms of military hardware, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and financial assistance that the Western world has been giving to Ukraine. And the Russians are also fighting all their might in this war, because now it has become a matter of prestige for the Russian side whether they will get defeated or not, or whether they will be able to take control of the territories that they have already occupied. Recently, we have seen the Ukrainian side pushing Russian back and regaining control of some lost territory as well. The whole war that is currently happening in Bakhmut, where Russians are being reported that they have captured almost 60% of the city. That also remains a very critical point, where the war is being fought very fiercely and very intensively. But mostly the capital city Kyiv and the other part of Ukraine remains away from the war zone, and the borderline that are kind of dynamic. That every week we see that some territory has been lost by the Russian side, and some has been regained by the Ukrainian side. But the war is being fought fiercely. There are reports for both Ukrainian military and the Russian military as well that they are going to launch some major offensive in the month of May, somewhere around middle of the May. So how soon it can happen, or whether the Ukrainian attempts to preempt any major Russian offensive is already underway, because just a couple of days ago we saw that Russian drones damaging Russian oil fuel stores. So these are the kind of...
Abhishek, I'll just request you to stay on with us. We'll just continue the conversation in just a bit. We also have former diplomat KP Fabian also now joining us. So good to have you on the broadcast with us. How do you see the kind of claim that is being made by Russia as of now?
Well, I suppose we have to take with a pinch of salt the claims being made by Russia and also the claims being made by Ukraine. And what seems to be happening, because, correct information is very difficult to get. What seems to be happening is that Russia is gradually taking control of Bakhmut at a very heavy cost in casualties. But most of the civilian population has...
So we actually just seem to be losing your audio. We'll just try and tell our team to reestablish that. We also have Russian journalist Tatiana also now joining us. Tatiana, we appreciate you taking out the time and joining us here on CNN News 18. What are the kind of reports that you're picking up? Could you help us understand what really has happened?
Oh, you mean the unmanned, the drones over Kremlin?
Yes, we are understanding the allegation that is being made by Russia as of now that there was a drone attack which was a bid to assassinate Vladimir Putin.
Well, look, I mean, no one in Russia has said that it was actually aimed at assassinating Vladimir Putin, because it would be quite absurd. The blast that happened, I actually heard it for some reason. It was still up at it was in the middle of the night.
Okay.
It was a very loud blast, and we were waiting for a long time for any sort of information and confirmation of what had actually happened. So there were 2 drones that were apparently aiming, they were flying over the Kremlin, aiming at the Kremlin. However, obviously the president was not in the Kremlin during the night. And it has been confirmed by his press secretary, Dmitry Peskov. He said that, of course, the Russian president was not in the Kremlin at the moment of the attack. And then the Russian military reacted very, in a prompt manner. So both drones were basically annihilated. But it is quite a stunt. by the Ukrainian military.
Okay, so you're helping us get some more clarity, Tatiana. You're saying the president wasn't at criminal when this entire drone attack happened. You're also saying there was an counter as far as the Russian forces were concerned. They annihilated these drones as well. Some reactions that we're getting in, we're now understanding that Moscow is vowing for a retaliatory measure. What is the kind of plan or what is the kind of measures that are being thought out at this point as far as Moscow is concerned?
Well, look, first and foremost, and there has been, again, Dmitry Peskov has said that the president is working out of his residence, which is outside of Moscow. So that's, but that's very obvious for anybody who's, who is somewhat aware of his, his working schedules. In the meantime, the official line is that Russia reserves the right to take retaliatory action in the way it sees fit. So that means that, we're not going to, and this, as a journalist, this, that nobody will ever publish a plan of any retaliatory action before it actually happens. That's, that's for sure. But in the meantime, it's, again, it's more about the kind of the cause and effect that what was Kiev aiming at. This is quite an audacious stunt to pull.
So I just want to understand, Tatiana, then how is Russia and Moscow actually seeing this? What do they think was the original target as far as Ukraine is concerned? And how are they seeing this move by Ukraine?
Well, look, we can't know for sure what was the original target because, again, the two drones that were shot down, they were, I don't believe that they were not shot, I'm sorry, I think they used the radio location system to bring them down. But in the meantime, this stunt attack that happened during the night, so it's obviously, it's a very weird stunt to pull.
How do you see this impacting the war, Tatiana? It's been 1 year on as well. We already were hearing as far as the counteroffensive by Ukraine is concerned. How do you see this impacting what is the future as far as this war is concerned?
Well, I think that this is a very, very good show of the intention on Kiev's side, to try and carry out any sort of attack in the center of Moscow, be that day or night. That shows more than anything that there's not going to be any sort of, nobody wants to negotiate on the Kiev side. And that means that they want to continue this war. And that means that, I believe that this calls for, for stronger measures on the Russian side.
Yeah. Tatiana, I'll just request you to stay on.
Probably what we're going to see.
Sure. I'll just request you to stay on with us. Former diplomat KP Fabian, in fact, is now back with us. Sir, I'm just looking at the statement that, in fact, has been issued by the Kremlin where it says its military and secret services, quote-unquote, acted timely to shoot down these drones. Russia reserves the right to take retaliatory measures when and where it sees fit. What do you think is going to be the future as far as this war is concerned now?
I will only make two observations.
Sure.
Only thing is that Ukraine and the West have persistently and consistently demonized Putin, holding him alone as responsible for the war. In my opinion, that is wrong. Secondly, it is unwise on the part of Ukraine to target Putin because that might prompt Kremlin to retaliate in a big way. So I think there is much, unwisdom in such acts. And let us hope that Ukraine will not repeat such acts of folly.
No, but what do you think the real target was? As I was just asking the Russian journalist who continues to be with us, Tatiana was saying it's no knowledge to everyone that the president is not there at the Kremlin late at night. So what do you think was the intent, or what was the larger messaging that you think that Ukraine wanted to send across?
No, Ukraine wants to send a message whether the intention, the target was Putin or not. Ukraine wants to send a message that it has got the military capability to strike at Kremlin, whether Putin is there or not. And Ukraine has been saying that it will be in a position to retake the Crimea as part of its, under being planned offensive. I personally think all this is, to put it mildly, exaggeration. And what we want, as India has been urging, what we want is a ceasefire and proper negotiations, putting an end to the killing that is going on.
Yeah. I just want to go back to Tatiana. Tatiana, because details are still sketchy and we're still awaiting from an official reaction as far as Ukraine and Kyiv is concerned. What is the local media in Russia reporting as of now?
Well, exactly what we've been talking about. Look, I mean, Russian media are going over the statements made by the president's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov. I believe that, everybody here is right now largely concerned, over just what kind of retaliation are we talking about, because this is, again, an obnoxious and very, it's unacceptable for Russian people to begin with. So we're waiting, for any sort of retaliation that we'll know after it's done, obviously. In the meantime, there's still going to be a parade in Moscow on the Red Square on the 9th of May. We're preparing for it. That the 9th of May is the victory in the World War II is a huge celebration here in Russia, being the country that actually turned that war around at the time. So, there's no further speculations because Russian media don't like speculations in such matters.
Okay. Tatiana, we'll just request you to stay on with us because I'm getting some other details also now coming in, even as our colleague Abhishek is also now joining us. Other details that are coming in as part of what the Kremlin spokesperson has said. He, in fact, has confirmed exactly what Tatiana was also telling us, that President Putin was not at the Kremlin at the time of the alleged Ukrainian attack. President Putin was working at his residence. This is the more other details that are coming in as part of the spokesperson from Kremlin is concerned. Abhishek, coming to you, any other details that you're picking up now?
Also, we know that it has happened somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning. And there was no official confirmation regarding that. Probably the Kremlin and the president's office was investigating as to who all could be behind this attack. But apparently, 2 drones were seen loitering above those buildings, and then after some time to that, there were these attacks. And who all have been behind this attack is yet not clear, but apparently the Russian side has been saying that this attack was done on the basis of the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian president, and the target was the Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Abhishek, we were just speaking to a lot of experts and they're saying this possibly could be counterproductive as far as Ukraine is concerned. Any details emerging of what could have been the larger messaging that Ukraine could have been wanting to work with?
So we know that during the month of May, there was this talk about a major offensive that Russia has been planning for weeks and that will be launched. There is another war that is happening very fiercely in the city of Bakhmut, where almost 60% or more than 60% territory has been already captured by the Russian side, but there have been thousands of casualties and the soldiers have died on the both sides, and heavy damage has been inflicted upon both the sides, but still the war is on in that city. But with the latest offensive that was apparently being planned by Russia, it was going to be even bigger or harsher for the Ukrainian side, and there have been preemptive attacks from the Ukrainian side in the last couple of weeks. The last such major was 2 days ago when the Ukrainian side had targeted Russian fuel depot, and after that attack there was this controversy also where the goddess Kali was shown as a portrayal of this demolition and this cartoon character, which created controversy also. So, this attack that we are currently talking about, this on the life of Russian President Vladimir Putin, could be a message that now Ukraine can reach to the center of the city, center of Moscow, and it can have the ability to target the most protected world leader, one of the most protected world leaders, that is Russian President Vladimir Putin right now. So it was also a kind of expression of the capabilities that Ukraine has attained over the last several months of war, in terms of surveillance, in terms of reconnaissance, and in terms of attacking capability, because the drone that must have loitered around Moscow and in those buildings must have had a capacity to fly for about 1,000 kilometers, then only it could attack Moscow. So if these kind of weapons Ukraine has already gotten from the Western allies, then clearly a signal to Russia that now Ukraine has a better capacity in terms of drone attacks, where Russia has had edge since the war has broken between the two sides.
Yeah, and we're also getting some other videos and images as well, where you can in fact see the exact moment or when that alleged drone attack actually happened. And this is where the Kremlin is saying that its military and secret services then acted timely to shoot down these drones. And Russia is also making it very clear that they do reserve the right to take retaliatory measures when and where it sees fit. Tatiana still continues to be with us. Tatiana, you were mentioning how the 9th May Victory Parade actually is a huge event as far as Russia is concerned. What are you hearing as of now? Will events around that parade go on as planned?
Yes, the parade has been confirmed to go on as planned, again by Dmitry Peskov. But again, you have to understand that this attack, the attack that happened, I have to disagree with your correspondent, because if you want to show dominance, you do not, whatever you do not attempt a failed attack in the middle of the night. So that was a message. That was a message that technically they can reach Moscow and they can reach the Kremlin. But again, when we,
Tatiana, I apologize for interrupting, but when you say this is a failed attempt and this actually will not work, I'm just going back to when the war had actually started. And this is why I was asking my colleague earlier as well. More than what's happening on the ground, the war usually is also a war of narratives. Even the Russian side, when the war had started, they wanted to bring down prominent structures and cities. And that is why attacking cities like Kyiv and Kherson at that time had become very, very crucial, because if the capital comes down, then you will have a huge messaging being sent that your center has been taken down. Do you not think that Ukraine is using exactly that idea?
Доброго дня. То не можна поки заходити. А де можна зарядити телефон? Ви не підкажете?
And we continue to get more videos and images now coming in of what possibly looks like that moment or when that alleged drone attack happens. We still haven't heard from an official word as far as Ukraine is concerned, but the Kremlin spokesperson has gone on to say that yes, there was a drone attack which Russia is now seeing as an attempted assassination bid of their president, Vladimir Putin. Kremlin is also saying its military and secret services acted timely. They, in fact, are also saying that President Putin was not at the Kremlin at the time of this alleged attack. We, in fact, have now Oleski now joining us, a Ukrainian MP. We appreciate you taking out the time and joining us here. Could you confirm what Russia is claiming? Russia has gone on to allege that there was an assassination bid that was carried out by Ukraine.
No, I can't confirm this. I am a member of the parliament. I am not a military person. Ukraine has all rights to attack any object in Russia, because Russia, for 15 months already, are attacking our country. In reality, for more than 9 years, but for more than 1 year, absolutely full-scale invasion happens, and we have all rights, according to international law, to attack any objects on the Russian territory. But I can't tell you about these Russian claims that they are telling that they were attacked on Kremlin. I don't know whether it's a fact or that is Russian propaganda or some fake news. It can be everything.
We're getting multiple reactions, Oleksiy, that are coming in as far as the Kremlin is concerned, where they're now seeing this as a potential assassination bid against their president, Vladimir Putin.
So what's the question?
They're seeing this as an assassination bid against their president, and they're also saying they reserve the right as far as retaliatory measure is concerned. Do you think the offensive by Russia is only going to increase now?
I want to repeat you. I can't confirm and also I can't deny. I don't have information. So I can't attack whether it was a real attack or it's a Russian just fake news. Or if attack was the object of attack. They're saying that it was in the night. I don't know that Putin is sitting in Kremlin in the night. It sounds strange. In any way, I would not argue with the fact that me and millions of Ukrainians would be happy to see Putin dead, because he is a war criminal. He started the war against our country. He killed tens of thousands of people, so he deserves the death. But that doesn't mean that this attack was real, that what Russia is saying is real. I want to see any confirmations of this. There is no information about this from Ukrainian side. So Russia is very active in propaganda, in spreading fake news. So I don't believe any word that they are saying.
So, Alexei, if I understand you correctly, are you just saying this is just fodder that is being fed by the Russian side just to try and win in the narrative war?
I am saying to you that if Russia is telling something, that means nothing. They were telling that they're not preparing an attack on Ukraine, then attacked. They were saying, and many, many times they lied. I don't know what had happened this time. Maybe it is inside Russia. Maybe some other group tried to kill Putin. Maybe that was attempt of coup d'etat in Russia. Maybe there was nothing, and it is just some kind of scenery and some I don't know, like movie. They are looking for some pretext or trying to mobilize their people. Everything is possible when we're speaking about Russia. I don't believe any of their words, so I can't tell you what had happened there. What I can tell you is that in any way, and I said this and I want to repeat, that Ukraine, because Russia is killing our people, absolutely unjustified aggression they started, we have the all right to attack any objects in Russia. But that doesn't mean that this exactly attack, was it real or not? But even if it was real, was it organized by Ukraine or not? I don't know. And I don't believe Russians.
Okay, I just want to ask you a couple of other things also. I just want to understand, it's been over 1 year since the war is on. We've been hearing about a counteroffensive as far as Ukraine is concerned. How is Ukraine planning to carry the momentum as far as this war is concerned, considering the fact we don't see it ending anytime soon?
Still part of Ukraine is occupied by Russian forces. Despite last year, Ukraine had a big success in our counteroffensive. We liberated part of our territories, but not all. So definitely we want to liberate all our territories. And we all hope that our counteroffensive will be successful, but we will see how successful it will be. Yeah, that's the war. It's quite hard to predict. In any way, Ukrainian army showed to the whole world that it can be very successful. Russians were many times running from Ukraine, absolutely like cowards. So we hope that this time our counteroffensive will be again successful. Keep fingers crossed.
I'm just looking at some other reports as well. And the reason that I asked you about the counteroffensive is how prepared is Ukraine if this is going to be a new turning point as far as the war is concerned? Because Russia just about 48 hours ago had claimed that 480 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed. 200 tons of ammo has been blazed up as well. So is Ukraine prepared in terms of just sheer numbers as far as the counteroffensive is concerned?
Sorry, I didn't hear everything that you asked. If you're asking about numbers, definitely we have casualties. Russia has much bigger casualties than Ukraine have. We don't have official information about how many people from Ukrainian army were killed. Unfortunately, we have killed Ukrainians and thousands of them, both civilians and military people. In any way, we are ready to fight till the end, till the victorious end, because for us this war is existential. Russians try to destroy us as a nation. They're organizing genocide on occupied territories. That is just a colonial war when Russian empire tries to destroy the nation which fights for its independence. And also we're fighting for our sovereignty and for international law. So it means that for us it's to be or not to be. So we will fight till the end.
Alexei, lastly, before I let you go, the Kremlin statement is making it very, very clear that there will be retaliatory measures where it sees fit. Is Ukraine now ready, even if the war is going to get bloody in the months to come?
The war is bloody. Russia is using all force they have to attack and to destroy Ukraine. We are not afraid of Russia and their claims and everything. This war was started by Russia. We are ready to finish this war immediately when Russians will leave our territory. That's all.
Okay, we appreciate you joining us here on CNN News 18. So Ukraine, as of now, denying. They're saying this is just as part of the propaganda war that is being peddled by Russia. Ukraine would like to see more proof. As of now, they do not believe any word that's coming in from Russia. Just to give our viewers a better perspective of what really has happened, there is a big allegation that is being made by Russia where they're saying there was a drone attack, and they're seeing that as an assassination bid against their president, Vladimir Putin. Let me just read out that statement that is coming from the Kremlin once again. They're also saying that once this drone attack happened, which they're seeing as an attempted assassination bid of Putin, the Kremlin's military and secret services acted timely to in fact shoot down these drones. They're also adding, and mincing no words, that Russia reserves the right to take retaliatory measures when and where it sees fit. Also, what is interesting is the confirmation that is once again coming in from the Kremlin, where they're saying that the president, Vladimir Putin, in fact, was not at the Kremlin at the time of this alleged Ukrainian attack. He, in fact, was working at his residence. We were just speaking to a member of parliament as far as Ukraine is concerned, and Ukraine has denied Russia's claims of this drone attack as far as Vladimir Putin or even on Kremlin is concerned. This is a big international story that is still developing. We'll continue to get you all the sides and reactions as well. For now, it's a wrap from my side. News continues here on CNN News 18.
All right, we're continuing with that big story that is coming in. Russia accusing Ukraine of attacking the Kremlin with drones overnight in what they are describing is a failed bid to kill President Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin said that 2 drones have been used in this attack on Putin's residence in the Kremlin citadel, but have been disabled. These drones were disabled by electronic defenses. Russia, it says, has reserves the right to retaliate, a comment that suggests that Moscow might be using this incident to justify possibly a further escalation to the 14-month-old war with Ukraine, or possibly a targeted strike of some kind. Ben Aris is a Russian journalist who continues to be with us. Let me just first try to understand from you, Ben, the kind of visuals that are coming out of this supposed drone attack. Has anything of this kind happened at the Kremlin ever before, this close to the Kremlin?
Kremlin, but this is not the first time Ukraine has flown drones into Russia. And I think it was maybe 2 months ago, there was actually a volley of 6 or 7 drones, and they got as far as Moscow. But they got shot down in the outside Moscow, in the countryside. They didn't actually make it to the city. They came down near an airfield. To actually strike within Moscow itself is a first, and of course it's very shocking. But like I say, the Russians have been anticipating this. They've already had some attacks, so the Ukrainians have shown that they can fly drones as far as Moscow, and they've been prepared. I mean, the Kremlin has defense guns mounted on the roofs. The Ministry of Defense, which is just up the road from the Kremlin, has been reports, and they've had guns, automatic guns, also on the roofs. And so in that sense, it's not so surprising. I mean, it's a shocking attack. But like the Kremlin said, it seems that they anticipated them coming in, and they got shot down in good time.
Can I try and understand from you? We're still waiting, of course, the Russian authorities giving us more details. But some of the Ukrainian voices are already wondering whether this is just propaganda and whether there was an actual attempt to kill President Putin or just some other kind of attack that they were planning. How do you see this episode escalating the conflict that is already continuing for more than 1 year?
Well, it's impossible to say. I mean, we have unconfirmed reports. The footage that's coming on the Telegram channels showing smoke around the Kremlin, so I think there was an attack. Typically, Kiev, Bankova, the president's administration, doesn't comment on these kind of attacks when there was a huge bomb on the Kerch Bridge that didn't destroy it, but did a lot of damage. Again, Kiev didn't comment on that. There was another bomb that went off in Crimea in an airfield and destroyed several planes and set off an ammunition dump. And again, there was no comment from Bankova. So they tend to be very quiet about this. And I don't think we'll see any